Hey guys, Space Feeders here, and today I'm going to do a video on how to build an organized workshop. Now, a few people have asked me to do this. I'm not going to actually build a workshop, but I'm going to talk you through it. Now, if anyone does want me to build one, I can, and I will do it for you guys, but I'm going to talk today about the general basis of how it works, and that way, you can sort of design your own. Whereas if I do a build tutorial, you're all going to build 100 identical storerooms. So this is my storeroom. It's ridiculously over the top and organized to the point where it doesn't work effectively and efficiently, but I like it that way, so that's fine. So the first thing you're going to want in any storeroom is your workshop. Now, I would put this in the very center. So I would aim to have maybe a 77 by 77 room, and I would have like a 30 wide circumference circle in the middle, and I would have all of this. So you want to make sure you get a crafting table for every single item. Now, this is really important because it saves time. Rather than swapping out your items, oh, I need to swap my screwdriver and put in a knife. You have every single one laid out. You put one in the crafting bench, and you have one on top in glass, just so that you can see and you know at a glance what they are. This doesn't have to be done, but I also like to use anvils for my dyes, because anything that you're dyeing can be done in a basic recipe on an anvil. So that also looks quite nice to have a set of anvils, because they're smaller than the workbenches, but you could use workbenches as well. It doesn't massively matter. Obviously, you want your forges. Now, some people have a long line of them. Some people try and make a square of them. It really doesn't matter. But obviously, the closer they are together, the more efficient your perks work. One technique that you can use, which quite a few people use, is you put all of the floor in front of them as ice, and you have acceler rings on either side, one there and one there. And what that does is shoots you backwards and forwards in front of the forges. And not only do you collect the materials, but the perk is activating across all the forges as you go backwards and forwards. The same for your extractors as well. You can do it in exactly the same way. Some people do them in squares, so you can stand in the middle, or some people use the ice method. Recube things, I just have those scattered wherever I fancy, and the same with extractors. But again, extractors can benefit from close proximity perks, so I have them like this for decorative purposes, but you can really, put them in whatever way you feel is the most effective. I think the ice method's pretty good. And again, my distilleries, I have used lines because I've got a square in the middle. But yeah, your basic workshop setup, you want to have some of all of this, and you want to make sure the workbenches are clearly sort of labeled almost with the items, and it makes it very simple. You jump in, you see it, you grab it, you go. Now we're going to have to jump off here because it's bottomless and I can't get back any other way. So we're just going to kill ourselves. So that was how I would lay out a workshop area. Now I'm going to show you my storeroom. Not to say build it like this, but categories. It's very important to split your items down into categories to make it easier to find. So I have minables for crafting. So anything you mine straight out of the ground that's used in crafting. Crafting materials, anything that you have to combine, but it's still a crafting material. So things like charcoal, springs. Now, see, I have a box for every single item, but what you want to do is maybe have like a small island that's called crafting materials, and then you just have chests with all of that in, rather than doing what I do and labeling each individual item. But yeah, so crafting materials and crafting and mineable materials are two very good things. I mean, obviously you can use whatever you like, but I've found that these organize them quite effectively. And if I was to build a storeroom for you guys, I would use the same principles as here. Nature blocks and decorations. Now that is flowers, trees, grass, dirt, anything like that. Recube flowers, the blocks, anything that you mine straight out of the ground. Nature decorations, again, anything you mine straight out of the ground. I would categorize all of that in one area. And on the other side, I have man-made blocks and decorations. Now this one's a bit more awkward, but I've divided it: checkers, glass and plaster, metal, terracotta, mosaic bricks and cement, house decorations and lights. Now that's anything. That's mattresses, benches, flower pots, ovens, lanterns, lighting, anything that you would put inside, just to give them a definitive category. So again, you know, you don't need to worry about these subcategories so much. You can, but you'll end up with a maze of rooms like mine, and it becomes quite time consuming to collect your materials. Very organized, but time consuming. So I would stick with these categories here: minables for crafting, crafting materials, man-made nature blocks. Now this one's similar. This one is nature crafted blocks. Now that is your woods and your stones, your sand, your clay and your coal, and your precious stones and marble. So, you know, all of that is a category. Ignore this door, it's not normally here. Realm basics, bumpers, stamps, parkour, and signs. Now this is a big jumble of stuff, but it's really the best way to define it. So I've got basics, bumpers, and parkour. So basically anything you can buy from the Cubic store that is a bumper, a realm basic, or a parkour block is all here. Accelerings, you know, spud bugs, all of that sort of stuff. So that is, I know it's a lot of random things together, but otherwise you end up with so many extra categories that it just seemed best to bundle it together. So signs, all your signposts, and also your stamps. So every single stamp, I have all of them here. Obviously you're not necessarily going to have all of them, but I like to have one for each thing because mine doubles up as a museum. So you can also come here. If anyone wants to come and have a look at this for reference, it's called A Workshop of Seven Hearts. And I just double mine up as a museum. So you can come and view every item basically in the game. Storage, games, and miscellaneous. Now this one's a bit of a stretch. This is storage, your items that don't fit into any of my other categories, your fadey foams, your clan stones, rope ladder. I didn't really know what to do with that. Fossils, clouds, jars, anything weird and random, nukes, mannequins that just doesn't fit with the rest of the category. Oh, and then perhaps the biggest one, events, festive packs, and clothing. So non-festive packs, festive packs, clothing. My clothing is, oh, no clothes because I don't really collect them. But my non-festive packs, again, I've divided into categories: Sculpt, TM Pixel, wands, ghost hunting, co-op, all of that sort of stuff is all there. And the festives obviously is Easter, Christmas, etc., etc. But these 3, 4, 8 doors are the main categories, and everything else is a subcategory. I would come here, write down the 8 main categories and sort of what I've divided into them, and use those. So an example build for a storeroom is a 77 by 77 room. You have a 30 circumference wide circle in the center for your main workshop, and then 8 small islands dotted around it in a circle. Each one of those islands is one of these categories, and then on each island you have chests which you bundle full of all of those items. If you want to see that build, I can build one for you guys. Maybe I'll give it away to a lucky winner, just to give you an idea of a basic storeroom, but there is no real definitive way of doing it. But I do think that the organization classes I've used are possibly the better ones you could do. But let me know what you think. Let me know if you think you could organize it simpler and better. But I hope you enjoyed this video and this gave you some sort of idea as to what to do with your storerooms. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you soon.